Hey everybody, John the Other here, obviously, right? And as some people might already be aware, the 15th of this month here is the 800th anniversary of a legal document called Magna Carta, and I happen to have a copy of it in a frame here. Now I also have a book on my bookshelves with the full Latin as well as the English translation of the complete text of the Magna Carta. And this is an important document because 800 years ago it formed the framework and the basis for almost all Western legal systems to deal with law as a flat system, which was a massive change in thinking, so that instead of having one group of people affected by laws in a particular way and another group of people affected differently, selective enforcement and selective application of the law, Magna Carta was the framework which, at least in its idealized conception, provided for law to be flat across the board, that everybody was equal under the law. Now, in the men's rights, manosphere, MGTOW online community, there is a somewhat vulgar term called the pussy pass, which is a euphemism for the fact that women typically receive lesser punishments or sometimes no punishment for serious crimes, which when men commit those same crimes receive very serious punishment. And pussy pass is a reference that women are typically treated much more leniently under the law. Now that's not necessarily because of statute which says they should be, it's just because of unconscious social rules that, you know, well, it was a woman, therefore we'll fabricate excuses or, you know, treat them more leniently. But we now see a trend in modern law, particularly in Western countries, Canada, United States, UK, and so on, where not just social interpretations of the law and expectations create a system of, you know, differing applications of law, but we're actually seeing laws being specifically written which put people above other people. Now, in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, there's a group of demographics which are specifically listed as protected against some types of discrimination. Now, if you're thinking impaired, you might think, well, that's good because, you know, oppressed groups need special protection. But when you name a specific group that you can't have, quote, hate speech against or persecution against, rather than just saying everybody based on their demographic must not be subject to discrimination or harassment or any form of oppression or repression, if it's not everybody, what you've done is you've put the people supposedly who are oppressed above everybody else, and going forward, other people are in fact limited of protection in the law. That's not a step in the right direction. That's a step towards a tiered caste system society, with one group protected by the law and another group not. So I have a question, you know, and this manifests in a whole lot of other ways, and I don't need to list them all. Again, in Canada, there is a Canadian professor of law who teaches at the University of Ottawa who has published a book called Defending Battered Women on Trial, and it is really a manual for female murderers to use performance art and psychological gaming to get away with murder. And in fact, some of the reforms suggested by that book were already implemented by the time it was published in 2014 of December. So my question is, when the law is not equally applied and not equally written, when groups are privileged over other groups, and the people who enforce the law, which is judges, and the people who write the law, which is legislators, treat the law as nothing but an arbitrary set of rules to be selectively applied or not applied, or selectively enforced or not enforced, and in fact the rules themselves are selective about who is ordered protection under the law, why do you have respect for the concept of rule of law after that? Why do you have respect for the institutions of law, like the courts and the police, when the law becomes just an arbitrary set of rules of who has the most political sway. Well, we'll protect those people and everybody else can go F themselves. Why do you still have respect for law when that happens? Is it just momentum and inertia?
Is there anything you wish to say before I pass sentence?
I hope very much you don't have to take away my freedom. Because, my lord, freedom is a state much prized within the realm of civilized society. It is a bond wherewith the savage man may charm the outward hatchments of his soul and soothe the troubled breast into a magnitude of quiet. It is most precious. What goddess doth the storm-tossed mariner offer most tempestuous prayers to? Freedom! Freedom! Freedom!
It's only a bloody parking offence.